Hello. Welcome to our Modernizing Security Operations online event. For all of you, our customers, thank you for attending today. Today's event is actually harnessing the power of your Sumo Logic platform for security operations. And really, the spirit of today is to make sure that you folks are aware of the whole security side of Sumo that you have at your fingertips there. And you'll see in a second here the cast of our hosts that are going to be walking through the various event that we've specially prepared for you today. But a little bit of housekeeping. I want to let you know that this event is being recorded, and we're going to make sure that a link is provided to you after the event. And if you have any questions along the way, go ahead and hit the little Q&A button there and go ahead and type it in, and we'll have a section at the end where you could ask any of us hosts on the call today any question that you would like. So with that, let's get going here. I want to introduce you to the team. In case you don't know, I'm Dana Torgerson, Director of Product Marketing for Security here at Sumo Logic. With me is Paul Bowen, our Channel Technical Manager, specifying in security here at Sumo. Stacy Kornluke, she is our Director of Education and Digital Nurture for Sumo Logic. And also Josh Brotheim, our Training Manager for Delivery and Education here at Sumo Logic. So again, these are all the folks that you want to ask any questions of right now or at the end during our dedicated Q&A section. This is your opportunity, and I want you to feel free to take this opportunity to ask us questions about product, features, maybe capabilities that you have heard about, but you'd like to learn more about it. And of course, we could take things offline if necessary. But there's so much to go. We want to also be mindful of your time. So let me get into the agenda here. We're going to walk through and talk about what it is with monitoring your, modernizing, I should say, your security operations. Also, Paul is going to walk you through a technical lens of really a day in the life using Sumo Logic for security. And Josh is going to come in and give you a hands-on, literally, we want you folks to jump into to the test environment here and get a sneak peek of actually what the Sumo workshops and training are that we have. Maybe some of you have heard we have our Modern SOC Summit coming up. We'll talk more about that later. I believe Stacy will cover that, as well as we have an open Q&A and the next steps for your team to come and sign up and register for our Modern SOC Summit on June 8th and 9th. So to give a little bit of background, orient some of you, because I appreciate that some of you folks are on the DevOps, IT Ops side of the house using our Sumo Logic platform, I should say your Sumo Logic platform, to deliver and do observability and monitoring of metrics and logs and tracing. But we clearly have all these security solutions at the disposal, from audit compliance to cloud security monitoring and analytics, as well as I like to think of it as the kitchen sink, turning everything on and getting our add-on solution, Cloud SIEM Enterprise, to deliver a full modern cloud SIEM, which then brings to bear all of these capabilities and features. And then specifically, when you think about that middle section for cloud security monitoring and analytics, here's actually a high-level architectural view of that solution. Now, you're already, as a customer, we know that you're pulling data from a variety of sources and ingesting it into your Sumo Logic platform. But for security monitoring, you can use our included dashboards and alerts from more than 150 apps, and 76 of those are for security data sources. And that can help you surface critical security issues. Now, you can also use your data sitting there in your Sumo environment to perform security analytics with use case specific queries to be able to search for and analyze potential incidents across your broad data types. But where these two main use cases for a cloud security and monitoring analytics solution intersect is the power of the granularity to go deeper into your data while you monitor and analyze for security incidents across your enterprise devices, your IP addresses, your networks, and also your databases as well. Now, I mentioned we also have our Cloud SIEM solution, and really it's modernizing your security operations using the Cloud SIEM comes down to these 6 key differentiated features, but we can't really talk about anything unless we focus first on this concept of automated insights. And this is combining our collection strength that we have and our detection flexibility and our triage capability, clustering all of this data together. And I've drawn it on the right-hand side here. Your data that's sitting in Sumo Logic, user data, network data, devices, your applications, all the different cloud services. And again, we don't care if you're using Azure and GCP and AWS, and their security alerts all coming together. And our Cloud SIM Enterprise add-on product is what's using our adaptive signal clustering technology with our insight engine to be able to understand and look back not just 24 hours, not just 48 hours, up to a month, going back in time and looking at all the various signals that make up this opinionated view of a critical incident that you need to investigate right away. And that's what we call insights. And so we're automating that entire process. So that's really the first key item. But we also, you're using our platform, it's cloud native architecture through and through, which is delivering the dynamic scalability and the elasticity that you need to be able to perform these type of security functionality. And you're on a platform which is single collaborative in nature. So again, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of you folks are on the DevOps and IT ops side, and a lot of you folks are also on the security side. It looks like it's about a 50-50 split here. So again, welcome for everybody coming here. And this platform allows all of you to bring your collective data together and be sharing and using the same tool. Quick reminder, we're not charging per user fees for all of the users that you want to bring on, the administrators and analysts and engineers to use the platform. So have at it is really the story of the day, if you will. You're about to see from Paul here in a second the modernized workflows that we've built and that help you and your team get that collaboration started and understand just how you can whittle down that in detection, investigation, and response workflow dramatically into minutes versus hours. Supporting all clouds, I think that's pretty clear that for those of you that have been ingesting from all your myriad of cloud sources, Sumo Logic, we're in the cloud, we're for the cloud, we get the cloud, we're here and we've got your back. And that's what's helping us to do all that cloud native collection detection across all of these different sources. And rapid time to value, as customers, I trust that we've already been able to demonstrate this to you. But since we are talking about security day specifically, we want to assure you that you can understand that coming over and starting up some of these security use cases using the same platform that you're already accustomed to will not be a Herculean task. It will not be fraught with obstacles and lengthy professional services engagements with us. We want to be able to get you up and running quickly, and we help that with the intuitive platform that you're already using, certification and training, of which you're going to get a glimpse of here shortly, as well as all the out-of-the-box content to get you up and running quickly, especially since you might be considering us for security use cases. I also want to take a moment to share with you an update on our commitment to security and the scale of effort that we dedicate to provide the most secure cloud-based analytics service on the market. Now, these certifications and attestations now apply to our Cloud SIM Enterprise add-on solution, with the exception of our recently achieved FedRAMP authorization, which is scoped to our core Sumo Logic platform at this time. So in addition to encrypting all of your data at rest and your data in transit, we use these top industry auditors shown here to, in addition to our own full-time dedicated team members, our software and pen testing efforts, and we do this to ensure that your data remains safe and secure. And as a reminder, all of you get this included free as our Sumo Logic customer. So let me switch over now. I want to introduce Paul Bowen. He's going to walk you through this product so you can actually get a sense of what I'm talking about here and actually see it in action. So I'll stop sharing and hand over to you, Paul.
Thank you, Dana. And as Dana said, my name is Paul Bowen, and I'm a channel technical manager at Sumo. Let me just make sure everything full screen so it's nice and easy to read. So what we're looking at here typically is what you're already familiar with, Sumo's cloud security monitoring and analytics platform. And we're going to go through a few dashboards and then show how we launch directly into our Cloud SIM Enterprise. So one of the dashboards that you're already familiar with visibility possibly is our Global Intelligence Service for GuardDuty and Amazon services. And what we're seeing here is a culmination of this is what we've seen from the thousands of customers we have using the data, and we analyze that data and promote for you how your organization is doing against everybody else's. And this particular customer, as you can see, his global high severity events are very low. His medium events are in medium, a little higher than normal, and his low events are higher than normal by a fair amount. But the idea to me with this particular dashboard is that they're in a very good position. And I want to take you through just 2 or 3 more dashboards before we dive right into the Cloud SIM Enterprise, because these are the dashboards that you're already using, or if you're not, you're familiar with Sumo dashboards, and these are dashboards that you can know, use, and already love, and they come with the product. So this is a security insight dashboard, and these are not Cloud SIM insights, but these are insights into your organization. And again, as Dana mentioned, all this content comes with the Sumo Core product. And the idea behind this is to give you a good overview of where your company sits and what its security threats are. If you're not using these dashboards already, you can just search for security insights and you'll find it. And 2 other dashboards that I know everybody's familiar with are our Kubernetes dashboards, which allow you to take a company view of your cluster status, your namespace, and your deployment status while looking at all the pods and what health status they're at. And the idea behind this is, again, it's visibility into what's going on in your organization. And again, it's one of our new dashboards, but it is a pre-built dashboard that comes with the Kubernetes application that, again, is free to all customers. And last, before we go into the Cloud SIM Enterprise directly, is DevSecOps. And you can see here that if I were to, oh, I didn't need to zoom in. If I were to scroll up, you can see how your Jenkins recent builds are going, your log levels over time. And again, all this information is just to get you situationally aware of what's happening in your environment. But now I'm going to take us from Cloud Security Monitoring to our Cloud SIM Enterprise, which is our correlation engine that lays on top of the Sumo data lake and all the events you're already bringing into your Sumo environment. What we see here is a SOC out of the box type dashboard. It allows you to look at your correlated events in a unique fashion. And unlike traditional SIMs, which bring in raw logs and then generate thousands of alerts that no one can handle, the Sumo Cloud SIM Enterprise takes the next step in the evolution of a modern or a new or an advanced SOC or advanced SIM. We start with our record counts here on the left, and the record counts are the raw logs that have come into the system, doesn't matter what the data source is, and we normalize this data. Traditional SIMs normalize the data with geolocation and DNS information. We also add the Amazon Alexa rankings to every website automatically, so you know how popular the website is or isn't. We relate this to entropy, and entropy tells us if this is a machine-generated URL, the higher the entropy on a scale of 1 to 5 is the danger. When it gets closer to 5, it's more random and it's a more dangerous URL. We add that automatically to the record, as well as DGA, dynamic DNS generated algorithms. All that information is calculated and applied to every record that comes in, or every raw log, to turn it into a record and then to fit it into the schema, the 300 fields that our SIM has in its database. Once we get our records in, we then convert those records to signals. When we convert a record to a signal, we do 2 very key things. The first thing is it means one of our 600 pre-built correlation rules has triggered, and we update those rules every 2 weeks. And the second thing is we create an entity, which is what we're going to track for 30, 45 days, whatever you want to set your default to. We generally set it to 15 days out of the box, and we track every signal. It doesn't matter if it came from the firewall or the OS, and we link that to that entity to track the entity's activity score. And when the entity's activity score gets high enough, we generate an insight. And I'm going to give you a walkthrough practical example of that in a second. But I also wanted to mention that even though we update our rules every 2 weeks, the 600 of them, when the SolarWinds breach came, we had new rules pushed out to all our customers within 72 hours. So the idea is that we go from millions to thousands, millions of raw logs to thousands of signals to dozens of insights. And how do we generate an insight? I'll give you an example. I've been on vacation for 2 weeks and I come back and I forget my password. So I failed to log in 3 times. That gives my entity that got created when the signal triggered of Paul Bowen 2 points of activity. After 3 failed logins, I remember my password. That triggers another rule. So now I have 4 points activity on Monday the 1st. I don't do anything suspicious till Wednesday. And on Wednesday, I visit a website that's known to contain malware. Okay, that adds another 4 points to my activity over 3 days. And now I have an activity score of 8. Friday comes and I actually download some malware. So that adds 4 more points to my activity score, my entity's activity score, for a total of 12. That's our adaptive signal clustering at work. We've got proxy server logs, we've got OS logs, we've got firewall logs all in one place. But I shut off my laptop and go home. When I come in on Monday, I turn on my laptop and my laptop starts to beacon. Now I've got another signal which raises me over the default threshold of 12 into 13, 14, actually 18, because that would be 4 more points, and an insight is automatically generated. So this is why we call it adaptive signal clustering, and why we think that our SIM is the next step or the next generation in SIM, because we don't just give you thousands and hundreds of thousands of signals to look at. We give you a very manageable amount of insights to look at. And if you look at this over a 7-day period, that's only 10 insights per day. And I'm going to go into details of how we save time when we actually launch the SIM in a minute. But as you can see here, while we started with the least important and moved to the most important, here we start with insights, the most important thing our SIM generates. And then we have rules that triggered, and then we have the raw record count, and how dangerous the insights here are visualized in a nice way for you to easily see, oh, I need to dig into this or I don't. But I'm just going to select an insight, and I am in the Sumo Cloud Security Monitoring and Analytics platform right now, but it's going to launch me into the Cloud SIM Enterprise. Now, when I get into the Cloud SIM Enterprise, I'm immediately brought into an insight. You can see here it says Insights. And in this insight, I want you to notice that I have multiple signals, multiple correlated rules. I've got proof point for 4 points, checkpoint for 3 points, a threat and tell hit for 3 more points, and a CrowdStrike hit for 5. So if we add those up, 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 3 is 10, plus 5 is 15. Now we know, because this entity, all these signals are based on rules that fired for this entity, has 15 activity points. And now I know why the insight was automatically created. We also have a histogram up here to track through time the events and the different type of events that happened. So this is what I call the 100-foot view. I'm at a view which is, while having a tremendous amount of information, is still very easy to look at, quick, and it's not as detailed as we're going to get as part of our investigation today. So another way we save time is, there are 4 different systems involved here. So your analyst would need an account in all 4 systems, would need to know the query to run on all 4 systems, and need to know that he needed to run that query, or she needed to run that query, based on this activity. The system does that automatically with our adaptive signal clustering. It doesn't care what the signals are per se, but it knows that this entity generated these signals over a 14, well, this system is set for 30 days, over a 30-day time frame. So I can easily see, instead of having to run 4 queries, they've already been run for me. Ponemon Institute says it takes about 2 hours to remediate an incident or even start your tracking. Well, by taking those queries out of the picture, we're saving 60 to 90 minutes right there. And we're also saving the idea that you have to get a tier 2 or tier 3 analyst to figure out what queries to run. So now that we understand how we save time and help reduce analyst fatigue, let's drill into the 10-foot level. We're at the 100-foot level of detail. Let's go down to the 10-foot level. The first thing I want you to notice is that we have the rule right here. The second thing is the severity. And third, these are favorite fields. This is an example of us again helping the analyst. What I mean by that is, we tell the analyst, these are the fields we think you should focus on. So a tier 1 analyst may not know what's important about this signal, but the system uses favorite fields to help them figure that out. As we go down in the 10-foot view, we see we're still just in the overview, but we have full details that we can look at, and we have raw logs, which we'll get to in a minute. But the idea is, the system tells us very quickly, a click was permitted and the threat was phishing. And the user email and the username is here. The URL they clicked on, as I said before, how popular is the website, the Elixir ranking, and finally, the entropy of this domain. So we tell you, is it potentially DGA, dynamic DNS? Is it dangerous by putting that entropy there? And we say, oh, possible DNS is false. So there's a lot of information. And again, we're still at the 10-foot level, but we also allow you to do more digging now, in the sense of, we allow context-based actions. These 6 dots say that you can get more information. You could actually from here run a keyword search, and see who else in your organization clicked on this URL. Or you can just scroll down and see other fields that we didn't map specifically, but we gave you all the detail. So it gets very interesting at this point, but you might be someone who wants to get even deeper into the weeds. And by clicking on full details, you get to see everything we did, all the data we gathered for you in one place. So now we have all our data together. This is the full JSON of the event, but some people like to get all the way down to the bottom of the barrel, and this is the deepest view we have, is just the raw log. So you didn't have to, again, go to Proofpoint to get this raw log. This is what the log looked like in Proofpoint. The only difference is it's slightly formatted to make it more human readable. So we've gone through the overview, and then the 10-foot view, and then down to the bottom of the barrel, the deepest view we can get right here. So we have one interesting signal. I'm going to move on to the second signal. And in the second signal, we see checkpoint thread emulation, so a different system, again, clustered together. Favorite fields, they're different for each type of signal. And here we have other information that we can look into. And one of the things I can do is say, hey, I got the file name. I know that it's a malware type as a Trojan, but I want to see if anybody else thinks this is dangerous. So I can ask VirusTotal, is this dangerous? And the system will go out and launch a VirusTotal search. And sometimes the search from VirusTotal takes a minute. But the idea is you can easily get extra data or more context about the investigation that you're doing to make your life easier. And so we know now the file name, we know that type of malware. So I'm just going to proceed with my investigation in the interest of time. I'm going to go down now to the threat intel device IP matched from a file hash. So again, it's CrowdStrike now, a third vendor that we're bringing in data from. And again, a third query that you'd have to run. We see that the same file name is there. These are the threat intelligence lists that this file name got matched to automatically. We see it's Falcon. And when we scroll down a little farther, we actually get the whole file name. We get the antivirus engine that detected it first. We get the user, all the information your analyst now needs to decide what to do next. And the idea here is I can change, someone had worked on this one today, so I'm just going to make it new. I can go back and also assign it to myself. So now that I've gone through 3 signals and I think I might want to make a decision, might want to do something about this, I can go to our actions tab, not context actions, which are directly related to the signal, but an action I might want to take. I can send an email to the help desk or Paul Bowen, PB test. I integrate with all the different SOARs out there, and we have an API to integrate with just about anything you want. But the idea is with a single click, I've now sent an email to the help desk with all the information they need to know to go and take care of this end user. I'd like to point out that out of our 600 rules, they're all automatically associated to the MITRE ATT&CK framework. But if you feel you need to add an extra tactic or technique, you can come right here and say credential access, and you can put all the comments you want here. So I'm not going to put any in, but now I can move this from new to in progress, and then I can assign it to myself. And from here, I'm going to take you to the landing page to show you what it looks like on the landing page. And then I'll have finished up and wrapped up my quick demonstration for you. And Josh will take you through a more hands-on type thing, just to let Josh know I'll be coming to him in a second. So I've assigned it, I've put it in status. And when I go to the landing page, I get to see all these nice triangles. And the idea behind it is I'm quickly moving, and anyone that I hover over gives me the status of the insight. So when you've logged in, if you didn't come through my dashboard, which is available to everybody and came straight to the Cloud SIEM Enterprise, you can see the 6 insights that we think you should focus on in the last 24 hours. So that's about it. I think I'm out of time anyway. Josh, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Great, thank you,
Thank you.
Paul. And handoff is now complete. So everybody should see my screen. And as Paul mentioned, what we're going to do is we're going to get interactive. We're going to go ahead and start to utilize the tools that Paul discussed. So we're going to log into the Sumo Logic platform. We're going to do these steps together, so don't get ahead of things, but we're going to log into the platform. We're going to take a look at some Cloud SIEM insights. We're going to look at some signals, and then as Paul showed, we're going to take an action on that insight. So let's go ahead and get logged in together. So we have some training credentials that we're going to utilize for today. We don't want you to use your primary, your Sumo account. We have, like I said, training account set up for you. The website we're going to utilize today is going to be service.sumologic.com, which hopefully is familiar to everybody here, but if not, that's the website to log in. The account we're going to use today is going to be training plus analyst number at sumologic.com. And so you are going to choose a 3-digit number that you want to log in with. Maybe you want to use training plus analyst 007, training plus analyst 234, 789, pick 3 digits at sumologic.com. And then that password is going to be capital MAY, capital L, 0, GIC, exclamation point. So go ahead and get logged in. Once you get logged in successfully, if you could go ahead and just in the chat, let me know that you're in. If you want to let me know the 3-digit number you use, but we have a small group, so I'm not too concerned with overlapping. Keep in mind that this is a shared training environment, so we're not really going to be putting any data in today. So, but just keep in mind that it is a shared environment. You can also use these credentials after today as well for the rest of the month if you want to look at some other things within Sumo. So logging in, hopefully, service.sumologic.com, training plus analyst 3-digit number, and that password of capital MAY, capital L, 0, GIC, exclamation point. If you need any help with those credentials, Stacy and team are available, so just give her a shout. I'm going to wait for a few individuals to log in, so if you could just confirm that you're in, that would be helpful. And while I'm doing that, let me go ahead and show you what we'll be doing next. Also, if you don't want to log in right now or can't log in, feel free to sit back and watch me drive. I'm going to go through the exercise as well, so certainly will still benefit from today. So once you log in, you're going to want to go to the black bar, and we're going to go to the Cloud SIM Enterprise item or bar item. So I'm going to go ahead and show this because it's a lot easier than looking at the presentation. Okay, so once you're logged into Sumo Logic, this should be familiar to you, this screen. If it's not, of course, welcome to Sumo Logic. But what we want to do is we want to go to the left nav bar. If that nav bar is hidden, which it may be, go ahead and click on the 3 horizontal lines. And then in that black nav bar, we're going to go down to pretty close to the bottom and choose the Cloud SIM Enterprise. So clicking Cloud SIM Enterprise, and now we're brought into the Cloud SIM Enterprise environment. Now, this is what we're going to be playing with today. This is a pretty cool environment, and we're going to go through it. And as Paul showed, we're going to eventually get to some insights, get some actions, and do something with this. But at face value, this is what you're presented with. It's a heads-up display. It's pretty cool looking, and intentionally so. As you see here in the center, we have a time element. So around the ring of the heads-up display is time. And then we have records, signals, and insights. And Paul started to talk about those a little bit, and we'll get into those in a little more detail. As I said, this heads-up display is pretty cool, or I think it's pretty cool. And it might remind you of even a video game look and feel. And that's intentionally done that way. The individual who designed this, well, I can't tell you necessarily what game he worked on. If I did tell you, you might say, wow. So a little bit of a hint there. But it's a really, it's meant to be colorful, flashing lights, things are going on, and help understand what's in here. So assuming everybody is logged in here, you should see this screen. It should now be refreshing on its own periodically as it did earlier. On the left-hand side of the screen, what we start to see is how much data is being looked at over a time period. So over the last 24 hours, the system has looked at 2 million records. It's identified 247 signals, and Paul was describing how those signals are created and calculated, leading to 8 insights. So left-hand side is showing that information. Center of the screen, as I was starting to point out, the heads-up display, the ring is showing time. The blue line here is showing those records, so all those 2 million records, and we see peaks and valleys as well. Not bad peaks and valleys, but just they're there. We see signals, so same idea, broken out into 20-minute increments. We see how many signals occurred. At some times, there were no signals, just slow day, essentially, maybe, or slow time period. And then other periods we see signals. And then what we see as well, which is really kind of where I want to draw the eye, is to the insights. So what we see is over the past 24 hours, there have been 8 insights. As we mouse over any of these, we see the time period as well as the amount of insights that occurred or were associated with this, with our system. And we're going to go ahead and look at those in just a moment. And on the right-hand side, as we start to click into those insights, we're going to get some a chart or a graph here that we'll discuss that has a time and the score that Paul was alluding to. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and open one of these insights. The one I specifically want to open, although you're really welcome to open any, feel free to kind of poke around in here. You can't really do too much harm. Is this insight from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And the time is Pacific time. So if you're on the East Coast, this would be 9 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. But let's go ahead and open this insight here. And like I said, if you want to open another one, that's fine.
Josh, just one note, chat is disabled for attendees right now. So if they do have a question, they can reach out in Q&A. We're happy to answer.
Cool. Thank you for calling that out. So yeah, let's go ahead and use the Q&A if there's any questions. So once we logged into the specific
Josh, we can't seem to hear you.
Oh, there we go. I'm sorry about that. Apologize. So on this screen, what we're now looking at is a specific insight. And so in this case, the insight is already starting to reveal information about itself. It's a credential access issue. We see the entity. So we see it's related specifically to our employee, Napoleon Dynamite. So what we can do is now we can drill into this insight, or just really click on it and start to get some more information about what's taken place. Once we get logged in, or not logged in, but go into this insight, so now we're in the details screen, we start to see our signals here. We start to see them on a time scale, so over a period of time as the x-axis, and the y-axis we see the severities, those scores that were starting to be calculated. So this is giving us a visual as we mouse over when these things happened. And we actually see there's quite a large separation in time. These events happened the 25th, the morning of the 25th, and these happened the evening of the 26th, but the evening of the 25th, excuse me. But we'll look at that now through the bottom section here. In this bottom section, we're going to see those signals, and we're going to see more details about them. So the first thing that the system found to be odd or an anomaly was this, exactly as it says right here. A user attempted to log in from 2 countries in 1 hour. Well, that's curious to the system. Doesn't necessarily mean that a malicious hacking attempt is taking place by some foreign government. No, not necessarily, but it is certainly suspicious and curious. And the system has denoted it as such. As Paul was describing, it also gives a severity. Not a very high severity, but it's noticeable enough. If we click on the details here, we can see more information about the specific signal. So when I click on it, I'm getting a little bit more information. I'm starting to see some metadata in here. Specifically, it was related to 0365, which it actually showed me up here. So, but then if I go a little bit further down, I start to see the login attempts. Here were the 2 logins. Here were the source IPs. Well, getting a little bit more information in here, now I can actually start to see the regional or the map information about that location. So here we see at 9:40, somebody from Nigeria logged in. At 9:20, we see that user logged in from Miami. Now, is it possible that somebody flew from Miami to Nigeria in 2 hours? And I don't think so, but that is possible, but probably not. And so this system is letting us know that physically this just cannot happen, and this is curious. Now, once again, does not mean necessarily a malicious attempt at hacking. We could have an employee who's in Nigeria on vacation and had to VPN into Miami because he had to do some work, or vice versa. Now, this is where we need to use a little bit of our kind of managerial hat, if you will, and start to, understand Napoleon's interaction with the system. If Napoleon's been on vacation for 2 weeks and has no access to a computer, then this insight becomes much more valuable and becomes much more concerning. If Napoleon's job is to VPN from different spots around the world, well, then this information makes a little more sense. So I'm going to go back. So we see, let me go back to the signals here. And while you're in this, in any of these screens, if you go to the top left to click on the Sumo icon, this will bring you back to the main HUD. So it's a good way to get back to where you started from. So let's go back into our Napoleon here with credential access. As we continue to scroll down, reading our signals, or viewing our signals, we see some more information about them. Here, the system is actually detecting, and I kind of revealed this already a little bit ahead of myself, but here we see that impossible travel activity is being detected there. And so the system's letting know that that's probably what's occurred, that this is just impossible travel. Then we start to see what happened. A malicious URL click was detected. So it's not just that Napoleon logged in from 2 different places around the world. That's concerning. But then he, or somebody acting as him, or her, I guess, could have clicked on a malicious URL. And we start to see that continue here. Now, once we've read through this case and we've observed what's going on here, now we can go ahead and take an action and do something about it. So let's say we go through this case or any of them and we decide, this is legitimate, this is not, whatever decision we make. We can then go to the actions on the top left, and then we can decide what to do with this thing. Do we want to send it off via email? Do we want to add it to ServiceNow as a ticket? Do we want to send it to somebody in Slack, and many other options as well? Paul, I believe, showed some of the options as well also. And then finally, once let's say we want to email this insight out to the group, then we can go ahead and finally close that insight and provide some sort of resolution. So any questions about any of that? Hopefully it gives you a good opportunity to get in the system, play around a little bit, poke at the buttons. As you can see, it's meant to be semi-intuitive and also fun to play with. So it is meant to give like I used that video game analogy before, but it is meant to harken back to that. All right, so if there's no more questions, all right, Stacy, I'm coming to you. So let me go ahead and get back to the deck here.
Awesome.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks.
So Josh and I have been doing this for about 4 years, and we're really excited about being able to offer these types of hands-on opportunities to you guys. On the security and monitoring analytics side of the house, we're going to be offering certifications and workshops that are going to show you the same great dashboards and workflows that you saw Paul showing you earlier. On the Cloud SIM side of the house, we're going to be offering workshops, which are about an hour in length, on insights, rules, ways to do customizations of your SIM, and even threat hunting. So we have a lot of opportunities coming up in about 2 weeks for your security education. Josh, would you mind if yeah, cool. All right, so if you've ever been able to attend fundamentals or a search mastery class, you're going to see the same great types of opportunities with security monitoring and analytics education. We're going to teach you the types of queries that help you with brute force attacks, failed login attempts, how to use threat IP and geo IP to locate threats, and how to harness our CrowdStrike threat intel database to identify known threats by IP. We're going to teach you how to use advanced analytics to put priorities on those threats and identify common problems in your system. Okay. Cloud SIM workshops cover the data pipeline. So what you saw today with Josh, go ahead and give it one more click, Josh. You'll be able to go into an insights workshop. We'll open up insights. We'll decide appropriate actions. We'll be able to determine whether or not the severity is appropriately set. It's about a 1-hour workshop. For those of you who have put your hands on SIM before and feel confident, or feel confident after you've tried the workshop, we'll go ahead and take you into a custom rules workshop where you'll start to determine kind of what signals are noise, what rules are appropriate to your business specifically. We have over 300 out of the box rules. It's a good experience, but this is your opportunity to fine tune that more and to think about ways that the SIM can work even harder for you. With that being said, you've heard from Dana. He's talked a lot about where we sit with the market. You've seen a great demonstration between our SIP environment and our SIM environment and how those two work together. You've gotten to be a bit hands-on with Josh, and I've told you about your educational opportunities. So any one of us is happy to take questions from you, either on the product or on the training. Go ahead and ask us. Okay, and I see one question in chat, which is, what was the source dashboard app that was shown in the CSE SOC?
So I guess that would be for me, Stacy.
That is for you, I believe, Paul.
Yeah.
It
So
looks good.
thanks. It's a dashboard that we've built. It's not a specific app yet. We're building it into an app, but we do have other dashboards called SOC. But if you're interested, Ken, please, I'll just drop me an email and I'll make sure it gets shared to you on pbowen@sumologic.com.
Okay, we have another great question, which is, can you import Sigma rules?
Yes, we can.
That was short and sweet. So, oh, all right. Are the rules under content rules all built-in rules? Did the rules we see today, were they all out of the box rules that you receive with SIM when you first get it as a product? Or was any customization required?
So any of the rules that had a blue Sumo icon next to it were out of the box rules. There's approximately 550 of them. They get updated every 2 weeks, unless of course there's an emergency like with the solar winds issue, then we updated it within 3 days. But if you see a blue Sumo icon, it is out of the box content. If you don't, you'll see a username next to it, which means someone like me or Steve Dietz or another engineer created new rules.
And we'll teach you how to do that at the summit in the custom rules class. So it's a great opportunity to make your own rules. Sorry, it's one of my favorite jokes.
I see.
We have a question about the Gartner Magic Quadrant, which I'm going to turn over to you, Dana.
Yeah, that sounds good, and thank you for asking it. Over the years, we've maintained relationships with all the industry analysts. Gartner is just one of them. There's also Forrester, 451 Research Group, and the list goes on. And in these inquiries and briefings, we get a chance to actually get in front of these analysts and give them demonstrations and show the latest features. And we're hearing it on good authority that that it's gotten through, and so we're excited about our relationship with Gartner. That's all I can tell at this time, though. But DJ, for your question, I want you to sit tight and keep your eyes and ears open.
And then we do have one other, which is, what plan do you need to have to get Cloud SIM? So what, maybe that's an account rep question, but definitely a question around, like, if you saw SIM and you liked it today, how do you get it?
Yes, that's a great question. The Cloud SIM Enterprise is an add-on product that is bundled with the core platform. So since you're all customers on this call, that would indicate that we would need to make sure that you're on the enterprise security package, and you would have to then have that product added on. There's different ways of paying for that too, with the data analytics tiering and also the credits-based model that we offer. So definitely, as Stacy mentioned, please reach out to your sales rep, or you could bring this up maybe on your next call with your technical account manager or customer support or customer success manager to get more of the details of next steps, because obviously we want you to enjoy everything that Paul and Josh just showed you.
Okay, and I see that Paul already took care of the best practices question. So speaking of next steps, one of the things we'd all like to do is invite you to our Modern SOC Summit on June 8th and 9th. We've done our best to try and bridge the gamut of times, to leave some time for folks in EMEA and India to join us in the morning, and some classes in the afternoon for APAC's morning. Our hope is that no matter what, you'll find a few hours to come and join us to hear kind of key industry speakers, to participate in some of the workshops and certifications that you've seen, just sort of very vaguely demonstrated here, and to see some really great demos. Paul's put together some fantastic stuff. So there's a QR code right here. Dana makes some really pretty slides and I love it. You can use the QR code, or you can use the Modern SOC Sumo Logic events link. I can see Dana's using his phone already to get in there.
Get in there.
And our hope is that you can join us very soon. One more, if you want to do the agenda slide. Day one is going to be a lot of education opportunities for you. We'll be offering both our fundamentals certification as well as our cloud analytics certification. Both of these are 3-hour classes. And at the end of it, you get to take a test and become Sumo Logic certified. We found that that not only increases your ability to optimize the product, but improves your overall performance with the product. So we highly recommend it. We're a cloud product, so your savings is our savings, and we really want you to be in there. The workshops will be offered both day one and day two, along with the keynote speakers and the customer panels on day two. We will still offer the insights workshop, the custom rules, and threat hunting.
And I'll just add in there too, folks, there's so much content that Stacy and Josh and team have built for you to enjoy and use and roll up your sleeves. It doesn't fit on day two. There's a whole sequence of training that's for early risers before the opening keynote, and a whole chunk that afternoon in our closing keynote, which is on building a modern SOC in-house versus using an MSSP versus taking a hybrid approach. So much it wouldn't even fit on the slide, Stacy. I'm sorry.
I know it's going to be a big event. If you have a Sumo Logic customer success representative, you can ask them about registration. We've provided the link here. You can also reach out to your account rep if you want to know more about the products that you saw today. But we do encourage you to come to the summit, see how much more we have to offer beyond an hour. Our whole goal here is to help you feel comfortable with the products and better able to run your business. Okay, well, if there are no further questions, and I'm going to check the questions and answers one more time. Looks like we're good. We want to encourage you, please, if you don't have an account rep and you don't have a customer success rep, you can always reach out to us at sales@sumologic.com and someone will reach out to you. If you do want to know more, you can contact any of us and get more information. We do encourage you to sign up for the Modern SOC Summit, and we hope to see you again in the future.
Thank you so much.